Hey, what's going on, party people? This your man Griff here. Yep, still the notary. I know I look like a construction worker. This is one of my true side hustles. This is truly a side hustle where I go out and I do house inspections, and it's a company, and I'll put it in the description, the link to them if you want to check them out. Right now, we'll say the work coming from them is real sporadic. It's been that way since the pandemic happened. For whatever reason, the house inspections just sort of dried up that we do, and even though the mortgages and the refinances went up, but it's a company called Groundworks Inspection, and what they do is they send real estate agents, notaries, house appraisers. We go out and take pictures of a house and answer questions about it, and then we just submit a report, just a little small report. It takes less than 5 minutes. It takes more time driving to them than anything. So when I go out to some of these neighborhoods, because you go out in regular civilian clothes and you don't have to dress like this, but I do for my own safety. You're sitting there standing in the street taking pictures of a person's house, and folk get all skittish and nervous about why you taking pictures of a house and everything, and because of personal information you can't really divulge what's going on, so you have to direct them to the homeowner. But it seemed like when I wear my gear, plus I have body cam so I can protect myself, make sure that I'm fully, that everything is being watched when I'm out there and everything. So if somebody says I did something or whatever, I'm protected and stuff. So that's just what I do. So I'm in the process of doing that, and I was just sitting here getting the car warmed up and everything before I started doing these two real quick. But as the title said, I just wanted to give a thanks to everybody for all of the comments. I'm gonna tell you, there's not a comment that I saw that didn't make me smile. When I started this YouTube channel, I only started it because I really wanted to make sure notaries had the right picture and the right expectations and understanding of what being a notary is. Irregardless of what training you take, according to the state level, at the state level, there's certain things that we as notaries are supposed to do and not supposed to do. And we have to make sure we are in line with those things. And part of the reason why I have the mindset that I do, because as many of you know, I was trying to talk to the state about the concept of notaries taking closing funds, and I didn't know that Virginia notaries weren't allowed to, because nobody from the Notary Commission here even talked about that. And I just happened to stumble across it when a title company sent me 2 FedEx slips, and I was like, okay, why did you send me 2? And they was like, oh, the reason why we sent you 2 is because Virginia notaries aren't allowed to collect funds. So when I started researching it to make sure that they weren't telling me something that I wrong, because I didn't know, I contacted the state, and the first thing the state told me was, oh, you get a lawyer. And I'm like, what do you mean get a lawyer? I'm like, y'all the notary people. Then when I contacted the state to verify that the platforms that I was using for, hold on, sorry about that, neck gets stiff. Oh no, that gonna hat bother me. That the platforms that I'm using for e-notary and the RON stuff, was approved by them. And again, they came back and said, oh, you need to consult a lawyer and just make sure you're following all laws. And it was like, oh, by the way, Virginia's a self-certifying state. And then I said, okay, what do you mean by that? And they said, what we mean is, as a self-certifying state, you're responsible for making sure that you follow all applicable laws and guidelines. We're not going to tell you yay or nay that you should do something. We put the laws out, we put the guidelines out, and it's up to you to make sure that you follow them. And I'm like, okay, so where are all these laws and this, that, and the other? They gave me a list of where they're at. And it was basically saying, in any other thing. So basically, ignorance is not an excuse. I was like, okay, but we're not going to tell you. So when I came into the situation that I did the other day, that's the first thing that popped in my mind when I was talking about, when I did the premiere yesterday about my direct loan closing experience. And just to give you just a tiny little bit of background, I've done over 100 seller packages. Okay, so, and I think I might have came across like I didn't know the document. It wasn't the fact that I didn't know the document. I had never been told to do the and thing of the document. It's like, okay, well, explain the document and go do this here and direct them in what they're supposed to do and answer these questions. And between Bill, loan signing system, other companies out there that I've seen, I'm not on the loan signing system, but I've seen some of his training in the past. I've heard him talk about different things. I've heard Bill talk about things. I've heard people ask questions, and I've seen answers. Then I've seen training about this. So the information about how we as notaries supposed to do certain things is there. And when I got into a situation where it was like, okay, this is the first time out of over 100 seller packages that I'm seeing no CD, no altar, and I'm being told to do something. And what maybe some people might have missed was that the key word, as I shared, was expectations. And what I'm trying to help people understand is, and let me back up a little bit. When people talk about being a notary, and there's this expectation that as a notary you can make this amount of money, and then you come in to be a notary to make this amount of money, and come to find out you're in an attorney state, the expectation that is like, okay, well, I didn't know that. So you done took training, but now you can't even do notary because you're in an attorney state. So what I'm trying to say is, and trying to help people understand and open people's view of, is that as a notary, we can take all the training we want. We can take everybody's training, but when we go into a situation as a guest notary, not knowing, you could go in there doing your training, doing what you was trained to do, but because somebody expected something different, that's when the problem comes. And I don't think it's really a training issue. It's an expectation issue. If a man and a woman gets married, and all of a sudden he's like, okay, babe, what you're going to need to do is quit your job and come home and take care of these kids. What do you mean? Well, that's what I expect out of you. Well, you never communicated that before we got married. Well, you need to quit your job and come home because I grew up where the wife always stayed at home and took care of the kids, and then after all the kids was grown, then she went back to work. Okay, well, I was already working. I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm a whatever. I got a career, and now you're telling me after we get married, you want me to give all of that up. I didn't know, but that's what I expect out of my woman. That ain't going over well with any young lady at all. At all. It's the same thing as if a guy's like, yeah, I would like to have kids, and then a woman's like, oh, no, you ain't messing this body up. Wait a minute, why you didn't tell me that before we got married? Well, I'm not having babies. I'm not having kids. We can adopt. Go online and get one of them off the line, but not here. So the whole point of what I was trying to share yesterday was, we got to make sure we understand the expectations of any environment that we're going into, irregardless of the training. Because like my friend LC, she pointed out, and a couple other people, about the 593 form. There was no 593 form. Literally, there was none of the forms that I was used to seeing and that I had seen in that seller's package. So I reflect and I listen and I learn, I've been learning from y'all. And I'm like, I don't know if anybody who has taken any level of training, and it appears that from Bill, Kendra, Mark, and others, Notary to Pro, that the training is solid. The training is on point based off of what I'm seeing from the comments. And I'm like, if you was trained to do certain things and what you were, and the forms that you was expected to see aren't there, it's like, okay, what do I do now? And then the people who have you there are not stepping in doing it, because keep in mind, everybody has a role in this, as I commented on for one person who gave a great comment, And I was like, if my role is this and your role is that and their role is that, then if you're not doing your part, then it throws the whole thing off. So I'm like, but I really do appreciate the comments. I mean, my goodness, y'all have educated me beyond that. And that's why I say I wanted to make, just give y'all the thanks for that, appreciate that. And again, it's not that I didn't know the forms. It's not that I didn't know how to explain the forms. I didn't know what their process was, what their expectation was. That's the issue. And if you go into a situation with the wrong expectation, that's where problems arise. And that's with anything. So what I'm trying to say, and hope I'm communicating it correctly, is that as a notary, and for the new people being a notary, it doesn't matter whether you're direct or whatever. And like Ms. Holmes said, she gives her notaries instructions. There was no instructions. A lot of the signing companies that I've done stuff with, it gives us instructions. I've had instructions that's clearly said, when you get to these forms, if the signer doesn't know what they're doing or know how to answer them, contact the loan officer. The seller, the title company, or the real estate agent, or ... And that's what I've done. So now I'm being told to do something different. And that's what I'm saying. We need to make sure that we understand the expectation. And I think we can all agree, after seeing all of this, that different people in different parts of the country have different expectations. So now we have to figure out how to manage them. So I've already went and I looked up the Virginia Wet Settlement Act. That has nothing to do with notaries. It's all about settlement agents, about dispersing the funds and stuff. So when I read that, I was like, okay, I ain't got to worry about that. If I see that, that's mute to me. But I do appreciate y'all. This is, I guess, the unintended benefit that has come from this, because I didn't know what to expect when doing this. I just wanted to make sure people weren't getting themselves into bad situations. And I'm glad that I took the bullets on this one, because actually that signing was supposed to have went to a notary who's only been doing it for 3 months. And I would have hated for them to be in that situation and got tripped up like that. And the thing is, they're very well trained. It's not a matter that they're not trained. They know what to do. But I really do think that could have tripped them up also. And that's my biggest concern when I talk about, when people hop on YouTube glamorizing this business and not understanding that you can just walk into a situation that is just very, very uncomfortable, and all eyes on you, all expectations on you. You better, this, that, and the other. And that's what I was concerned about. So thank y'all, everybody. I got some real good videos I'm about to put together, actually finishing up putting together, that I'm going to put out to y'all. I think that's going to be very helpful and everything. I'm going to try to get them cleaned up and finished up today. And probably have to get my sons to help me and everything, and all of that. But I'm gonna go knock out these house inspections, make me some extra money, and yeah, to do them and get paid $20 for them. The only quirky part is that sometimes you got to drive. I mean, you might have to drive 30-40 minutes to them, but if you get a whole lot of them throughout the month, you can make maybe $500 to $800 extra. But it's a lot more driving than just being a notary. So, but some days it's good. Some days it's like this, raining and jury and all of that kind of stuff. But thanks, everybody. I love y'all. And I mean that sincerely. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I guess as the saying goes, y'all have been the wind beneath my notary wings and everything, helping me continue to fly high and all of that good stuff. But at the end of the day, what I have learned, we are very well educated notaries. And we just have to go out there and make sure that we are following the laws of our states and our counties, irregardless of what somebody is asking us to do. And that's the one thing that I've learned, that all notary instructors have told us repeatedly, as well as the NNA. Make sure that we are not getting ourselves in any kind of predicaments. So appreciate y'all. Be safe out there. Peace.